Back in the 70s, board games and improv theater had a baby, and it was called the role-playing game. These games allowed a generation of kids to live out their dreams of slaying dragons and saving kingdoms, all while sitting in their bedrooms and basements. Today, gaming has moved into the cultural mainstream, and role-playing games are back with a vengeance. Join us now as 5 of these former kids come out of the basement and onto the internet to experience adventure, mystery, and obscure pop culture references. It's time for Roll for Combat!
Hey everyone, welcome to Roll for Combat. I'm your GM and host, Steven Glicker. And in this week's episode, we start Book 6 of the Dead Sons Adventure Path, The Empire of Bones by Owen Casey Stevens. Also this week, I give a quick recap of books 1 through 5 for those of you brand new to the Dead Sons Adventure Path and the Roll for Combat podcast. And then finally, at the end of the show, I'm going to give you a little recap of what I think of adventure paths in general, as I have run a billion adventure paths in my long history of role-playing games. So here we are, Book 6 of Dead Sons, and I think you're going to hear it in this week's episode. Everybody has a little bit more pep in their step. Everyone is just a little bit more animated, a little more excited, because you know what happens is, and I'm going to talk more about this at the end of the episode, when you get to Book 6 of Adventure Path, everyone realizes that this is it. That, things they've been putting off with this character, they really got to do now. Like, things that they've been hiding or they've been waiting to do. There's no more tomorrows. This is the end. They have to figure out what they're going to be doing with their character. And you're going to hear it in this episode and the episodes to come, that people are just getting it out of their systems. They're being a little bit more goofy. They're just being a little bit more silly. They're doing things they probably would have never done a couple of months ago. It's just going to be a lot more fun. And it really comes out in the show. It comes out in the players, especially John. It's just a lot of fun. So I think you're going to really enjoy this episode. I think this is a really fun, great way to start off Book 6. And everyone is just super amped in this episode. And as usual, I try to make it really easy for anyone who just wants to jump in, and this is a recap of books 1 through 5, because this is episode 107. 107 episodes of Roll for Combat, so maybe you don't want to listen to episodes 1 through 106. Maybe you just want to jump in right to the end. This is a great place to jump in, and I'm just going to give a really quick recap of books 1 through 5. Here's the thing, I was thinking about it, I was going through it, I'm like, you know what, I don't even really need to tell you what happened in books 1 through 5, because in a weird way, book 6 kind of stands on its own. But the recap is very simple. Way back in book 1, there was a mysterious object that appeared, and these guys, the Roll for Combat guys, they were tasked to check it out. They check it out, weird stuff's on there, a lot of people almost die, and in the end, we find out that this piece of technology is part of some alien artifact. Cut to, books 2 through 5, they're running around the galaxy trying to find out what this alien artifact is. They eventually find out it's part of a mega super weapon, a Death Star, if you will, or in this case, a Star Killer base, because it actually is called the Stellar Degenerator, and what it does, it'll take any sun, suck all the energy from that sun, and make it a dead sun. Get it? Dead suns, dun-dun-dun, ching. Anyhow, that's what it does. It will actually kill off the sun, and then any planets around that sun will probably die. So it's sort of the opposite of all these other Star Wars-esque explosions, like blowing up stars or blowing up systems. This is the opposite. It actually sucks out the energy of the sun and kills it. So that is all you need to know. And what did they do? They eventually tracked down where the super mega weapon is. Turns out the super mega weapon was designed by some super advanced alien race, like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years ago. They eventually find out where it is. They go there. There's actually this cult of the Devourer which is this cult that wants to just kill everybody in the entire universe. That's all they want to do. Real nice life goal. And they're always been one step ahead of the adventurers. They eventually find this place. It's actually an entire star system. And the stellar degenerator is inside of a demiplane. There's 12 suns that are millions of miles apart. And what happens is they actually open up a demiplane where the stellar degenerator is kept, and that's where they hit it. They find this plane. They find the cultists who are always one step ahead of them. They eventually kill all the cultists. All the cultists are dead. And we are going to pick up right where we last left off. Is where they actually opened up the demiplane to get to the stellar degenerator. And what they were going to do is board the stellar degenerator and decommission it. They were going to blow it up. There was an AI that actually ran the system. And the AI realized the stellar degenerator is way too powerful to be in the hands of anybody. It shouldn't exist. They just need to blow it up because somebody is going to get their hands on it, and they're not going to be able to resist using it to, just kill off somebody or use it to ransom off the galaxy. Who knows? So the AI says, look, guys, we're going to figure out a way. I'm going to help you blow it up and decommission it. But then at the very last second, something went wrong. The AI had to sacrifice itself to open up the demiplane to bring the stellar degenerator out. And right as the stellar degenerator comes out of the demiplane, and by the way, this thing is 20 miles long. It is a massive, massive super weapon. Right as they open up the portal and they're about to realize, great, now what? They have no guidance. They don't know what they're supposed to do. Suddenly, a corpse fleet armada arrives. And the corpse fleet, they just want to do nothing except kill every single person and turn them undead. That is their goal. And not only do they arrive with a super colossal Ultranaut. That's right, I didn't even know that existed. But this thing is a massive capital ship, 6 miles long. So you got a capital ship that's 6 miles long. You got a stellar degenerator 20 miles long. You got a huge armada trying to take this thing over. And then you got the PCs and this little planet in this little starship trying to figure out, great, now what? There we go. That's where we pick up. This entire module is really self-contained. You almost didn't even need to listen to episodes 1 through 5. And the thing about this module that I like, this module is basically a foot race. It is just go. They just start this adventure and they just go right to the end, always running, always going as fast as possible. There's no pausing. There's no, let's go shopping. Let's go check this out over here. Let's do this little side quest. No, they need to get going because they're going to only have one chance to get to the end of this book, and they either all win or they all die. Now, of course, it wouldn't be Roll for Combat if it wasn't for these guys trying to all have their own cake and eat it too, because everyone has a different idea of what they should be doing with the stellar degenerator, especially Rusty. By the way, I'm going to tell you something secret. Throughout this entire campaign, Rusty, aka Bob Marquis, has been sending me detailed notes and explanations of how he is going to steal the stellar degenerator. That's right. Rusty has always been the werewolf traitor all along. He really wants this thing for himself, and I have a feeling by the end, we might have a Mexican standoff. I'm not exactly sure. I guess we're going to find out soon enough, but it is really going to be getting crazy. You're going to be hearing a lot of craziness from now until the end, and I promise you, I also realized that this is the very last book. I have also been pulling out all the stops and been going completely crazy because I also realized that this is the last chance I'm going to have to torture these characters. I mean, play with these characters. So I make sure that I also have a lot of fun as well. So with that, let's pick up where we last left off. The stellar degenerator just appeared. The massive corpse fleet armada arrived, and these guys have to figure out what the heck they're going to do as they're stuck on this planet with just an itty-bitty little ship. Let's pick up where we last left off. Last we left off, a lot of things happen. You managed to, you defeated all the cultists. They're all dead. Ta-da! You've won. You guys could have collected all your gear, gotten all them credits, taken your ship home, going bye-bye. But nope, you had to tinker. You had to open up the Gate of 12 Suns, release the super weapon. The AI had to sacrifice herself. So now you're all by yourself, and suddenly an armada of undead ships have appeared, led by a super ship 6 miles long, and looks like they're going to want to take over the super weapon. And yeah, you guys are just kind of sitting on the planet realizing that you just created a massive hornet's nest. I don't even know what you're going to do, because you have... I'll paint a picture for you. On one side, you have a portal that's open. It's 500,000 miles long, and the super weapon came out, which is about 12 miles long. On the other side, you have a armada of ships. Obviously, the Corpse Fleet, with the Corpse Fleet flagship flying big and center, the super colossal Ultranaut, the Black Wing Annihilator. This thing is 6 miles long. In addition, there's even 2 battleships that are also massive that are next to that ship. And, I don't know, hundreds, if not thousands of fighters and escorts and corvettes and cruisers and destroyers and every other ship you can imagine. Anyhow, before we get into all that, I heard you guys leveled up. Why don't you go through and tell me all about your level 11 characters?
Yeah, before we meddled in things we were not meant to meddle with, Mo finally got some armor. Woo-woo!
John Stats is playing the Vesk soldier, Mo Dupinski.
He went from, I think, 27 to a 32 for KAC. That's a bit of an exaggeration because I had a kind of a side grade, but yeah, that's a huge percentage of the to hit dice. So we're going to see how that works. Mo's also big upgrade was not from leveling up. Actually was from legitimately leveling up, not from his items. He got step up and attack, which is crazy good. It starts out with, you have to have a prerequisite of step up, which is a reaction to anybody doing a 5-foot step. My reaction, instead of having an attack of opportunity, is I can move up, which is kind of useless because once I move up, then I can't make an attack of opportunity. But what Mo can do now with the second feat is step up and attack. So his reaction, he can move up to 10 feet as a reaction and attack as all part of a reaction. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So we're going to see how that plans out in combat.
Well, I don't understand, John, because
Sure.
those require you to actually go into combat. So that sounds
Right.
a little against Mo's protocol. Isn't it usually away from
See,
combat?
I wish the people at home could see the battle maps for the past 10 levels. What you would see is Mo surrounded by monsters, and then at the back of the room, there would be... Oh, Cheddar's up there too. Mo is not by himself. Cheddar's a game day player. Cheddar's in there with the mix, and then in the back, there you see either Hiroji or Akiro.
You don't see Rusty. He hid around the corner. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Bob Marquis is playing the human envoy, Rusty Carter.
And then in the other room around the corner, that's where you'll hear Rusty yell, "Get him!" So that is basically the battle map for every single adventure. Okay, and Tunnel,
he's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong.
Yeah. So,
but I will say the people at home, while they have not been able to actually see this happen each time, have been able to hear you whine and complain.
Every single
one of
and
the
see,
fights for the last 2
right.
years.
Right, and that's why John Stats is always whining about Mo having to fight everything by himself. So he's got some mobility, and like he'll battle until he is like barely like one hit away from dying. That's when he withdraws, and that's the stuff that makes the cuts for that. That stuff doesn't go on the editing room floor in Steve's mad studio. That is what you're listening to, so that's why Mo sounds like he's always.
It's hard to cut it out because
it's so really hard. That's when everybody. That's when the dog pile happens on everyone. Dog piles on Mo, and so anyway.
Now let's see. You got the armor, you got the weapons, you got the skills to pay the bills. Here you go. Now we're gonna
no excuses now.
No excuses. No excuses. I want you to be charging in, guns blazing, screaming like a banshee every time.
Yeah. So there we are.
Wow. Who's next? Damn, that's gonna be hard to follow
I'd be willing to go next.
Jason McDonald is playing the Ahsoka mechanic Tuttle Blacktail and his drone Cheddar.
For Tuttle, it's kind of a boring level. Really, all he got was the ability to use long arms. I figured having an extra weapon choice would be pretty good. We got a couple decent long arm drops in the last few fights, so I decided to make him a little more versatile in his weapon choices. And now I can say, now I have a machine gun. Ho,
nice.
Ho, ho.
Ho, ho.
You have a boomstick.
So I'm going to make those H's pop a little. Ho, ho, ho.
Hard H.
So, conversely, it's actually a kind of exciting level for Cheddar. First of all, as a thing I didn't know, or at least did not expect to find out, Tuttle's tinkering has actually infused Cheddar with a little bit of magic. And so his attacks are now considered magical for the purposes of doing damage. So that will be quite handy.
That'd also be an interesting new PhD study, how you can accidentally make science into magic.
He gets a feat, which is specifically the spring attack feat, which means he can take an attack during his move. So he can do part of his move, attack, and continue his move. And in fact, also, the target of that attack cannot do an attack of opportunity. If there are other people around, they can. So he can do hit and run tactics. Cheddar can do hit and run tactics now. He can pop in, tactical razor bat somebody, and then pop back out. And then the big one, Cheddar gets, at level 11, we get access to advanced drone mods. And I have taken the mod Shockwave. Now, there's a little bit of risk to you guys. If Cheddar is in dire circumstances, I believe when he hits 10 hit points, instead of quote-unquote dying, he shuts down, but in the process releases a electric blast in a 10-foot radius that does 1d6 per level. So an 11d6 electrical blast in a 10-foot radius.
It's an EMP pulse. That is awesome.
Dude.
Hold on. So you just basically decided to build in the worst element of the Staff of the Magi, where in an emergency I'm going to break it over my leg and blow up everything.
Possibly so.
Yeah. Shock the monkey, definitely.
And considering the Die Hard theme, I will say blow the roof when that happens. But no, unfortunately, there's no control over it. It's when he goes under 10 hit points, so I don't have any say over when it fires. I will try
to say over which mod you were going to give him. You had say. Don't say.
Oh, that's right. I had say in that I could have not given it to him, but beyond that, I don't have say when it triggers. So
the other thing, and I think we forgot about this, Jason, is that you can do a full action, a full move, and so can Cheddar. I think both Tuttle and Cheddar can do full round actions now. I think you've actually had that for a few levels. I think we just always forget.
Yeah, I think I've been guilty of sometimes going back to old habits and not using my full potential. So I think that's mostly on me. But
yeah, no, that's on me too, because quite frankly, there's a lot to keep track of. And but now, all of you remember, when Jason is not giving every one of his creatures full mobility and things to do, you yell.
You're allowed to hassle me about it.
That's right. That's right. Because he should be able to do full
That's a
action.
bingo square.
And Tuttle. That's a bingo square. That's right.
Bingo.
Oh, we're going to have to explain that one. Now, Tuttle is pretty cool, but Cheddar also, his weapons This actually automatically happened as part of his goblin technology. At 11th level, his weapons upgraded to in damage because they were a little bit behind the curve. And in theory, what happens is you could have kept swapping out the weapons with weapons you found, but because of the goblin technology, he automatically levels up. So now his weapons are more or less approximate to what you've been finding, like the swords and the guns. So his weapons are still the same weapons, but their damage has been increased, which happens automatically. So Cheddar is way more powerful because
Cheddar is a badass now.
Yeah, Cheddar went from, well, after his last near-death experience where he literally went down to 1 hit point, if you remember that one. 1 hit point. I think you're like not fooling around anymore and decided to just go all out and give him the full chrome detail.
I always thought of Cheddar as R2-D2 on Jabba the Hutt's pleasure yacht.
Chris Beemer is playing the Tiefling Technomancer, Akiro the Just.
Serving drinks and whatnot.
He's all shiny and
Come on, R2-D2's a pussy. Cheddar is tough. Cheddar can hold
R2-D2 used to be able to fly.
Well, R2-D2 was like giving out like little cocktails. Cheddar gives out like the hard liquor, and he gives out like moonshine. Where's an Akiro the Just going next? I'm sure you have a plethora.
I will warn you, mine will be an anticlimax. Though.
All right. Well,
Akiro... all right. Well, then let's then let's go the other way around. Let's have Bob go, and then have the big climax, Akiro the Just. Let's have Rusty go,
but it will
Rusty's
be needlessly complicated, I suspect.
No. In this case, it'll be extremely streamlined.
We're talking about Chris.
It will be needlessly complicated. That's true. Mine will be very simple. Basically, I only got 1 new feat and 1 new envoy ability. The envoy ability is now I have that option of like re-rolling my diplomacy and adding my bonus the same way I do bluff, which is interesting because I think I started doing that in the game about 3 levels ago, forgetting which envoy improvisation I was taking. So actually, I've been cheating at least for 3 levels. But now it's official, so I've retroactively have not been cheating.
And now my official GM ruling is that for the next 3 levels, you can't use that ability.
Oh, thank God. Oh, that's good.
You'll forget it by next week. I'm not worried.
Yeah, that'll speed things up, too.
Yeah. At any rate, my fate, though, I decided to actually take one that would be of most help to the most important people in the party. So I took Fleet to increase my speed by 10. So while I'm way in the back, if things go poorly, I'm going to get the hell out of there much, much faster.
Oh, my God.
No, I think it's extraordinarily important.
All right, so
that might have been the worst thing you could have picked.
Wow. Okay, so the center of the bingo square is Rusty being totally ineffectual in combat. That is the everybody starts with that because there's just that's the center square.
Well, no, but I was thinking actually in terms of what's in front of us right now. There is a massive battleship that is like going across the sky. I figure it's aimed directly at like some star or stellar destroyer or something. So I want to run to the back of the ship so I die long after the rest of you, since we're all going to die.
You're the character that I want to have long arms because you're so out of combat that maybe you could contribute, but all right, maybe it'll help out.
And that's it. Nothing else changed.
Akiro the Just, Akiro the Hero,
right, well,
Akiro the Mighty.
Want to address the accusation that Akiro is in the back. You have to remember that Akiro is a technomancer and thus a glass cannon. So let's just get that out of the way. So he's not supposed to be in melee.
But you wear heavy armor. All
4 of Akiro's images are in the back with him also.
The best armor, by the way, of the group. Yeah.
Well,
more glass than cannon. More glass than cannon. Let's just say that. A little bit more glass than cannon.
Okay, so, all right. He got a new magical hack, which is nothing that interesting. For him, he just took something called spell countermeasure, so he's become more resilient to resisting the effects of spells cast on him. So he's able to get a plus with that.
What do you know? More defensive. Yeah,
more defenses. I like the defenses. All right, so for feats, he took spell focus, which just makes his spells be able to land better. It's so that if there's a saving throw involved, it's harder for them to make a save. And
That's not
for
good.
spells, he got an additional first level spell and an additional fourth level spell, which is quite nice. So for a first level spell, it's not a lot of great choices because he already got many of the good ones, but he does have Life Bubble, which can be good. You never know. It's good for environmental. If there's environmental issues with heat or extreme cold.
You have a spacesuit on.
I know, but there's not a lot of choices, you know.
Don't hate the player.
I mean, it would have been nice to have like in the jungles when we were there, you know. But for fourth level, he did take another offensive spell called Corrosive Haze, which you will see when I actually cast it. It'll be fun when you see it in action. And that's about it. Glass cannon in the back, in the rear with the gear, casting spells. That's where he belongs.
Way more glass than cannon.
Well,
So
yeah.
why don't you explain the bingo thing, John? Since, although Jason's the one who came up with the idea, but I think John will have more fun explaining it.
Actually, I'll defer to Jason. I think he had the right idea. He coined the phrase Beemer bingo. Go ahead, Jason.
It's not that complicated a concept. It's just that we've noticed over the years that our good friend Chris is fond of certain phrases, as it were. Some of them in the game, in the D&D games or the Pathfinder games themselves, some of them just general life phrases, such as bragging about the computer of the future. Future-proof computer, I'm sorry. Various things related to Warcraft and complaining about his guild / bragging about him being the best warlock in his guild.
Best warlock on the server.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, on the server. We're not giving you enough credit there. So, so over time, we've built up a collection of these that we can turn into a healthy game of bingo or an unhealthy drinking game. But that would make these sessions really messy. So bingo is probably the better choice.
Yeah, so what we want to do is, what we want is someone else to do is come up with a Beemer bingo card and put a few of them on the internet so you can play at home and see who wins the bingo contest. So if Chris says something and someone yells out bingo, that's probably where the reference is coming to. It's just, it's on the docket. We're going to be talking about it.
I think the center square that everyone gets for free would be heal me.
Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you?
That is absolutely the center square.
No.
I
It's
need
me complaining
healing.
about Rusty being out of combat. I already claimed it. I already claimed the center square.
No, I'm afraid not. I think actually Jason's right there. I need healing
all right.
or heal me.
Majority
is the
rules.
center.
Bastards.
Don't blame the
Oh,
player.
and actually, that reminds me of something. Actually, speaking of healing, like I think we found out that envoys could take stuff that allows them to heal. And
Sorry?
here we are again, another level where that was not taken.
When did we
But
find
he's
that
more
out?
mobile. He's more mobile now.
They have an ability to do some healing, and
No, I'm confused. You're saying we found that out, but I don't know from where. I heard nothing.
Now, you see, he can run back to the ship and get healing serum.
for himself.
Oh, that, yes. I've been doing that for the benefit of the party. I'm trying to make
Yeah, I think we found that out from the designer of the envoy class. Mentioned that.
Really? I don't
From
remember.
Paizo. Yeah. So, wow, yet again, another opportunity.
Yeah.
He could have done that, and wow, he's going to run 10 feet faster. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, we'll take it as a
Good life choice.
criticism as how Bob plays his class. So okay, moving on.
Look, hey, I'm still alive, and that other envoy that you're talking about, that seems to be dead. I seem to have actually claimed envoy supremacy over the creator of the class. That's all I'm saying.
Wow. Yeah, well, there's different envoys.
I am the top envoy on my server, and I do the highest of any
that's
anywhere
true.
on that server.
That is
Bingo.
true. You're the best envoy in the room right now.
Your DPS as well.
My DPS is nearly non-existent.
By the way, Steve, I thought we were in a ship. Or were we on the planet when we saw the thing come in the? You mentioned in the recap that we were in on the planet, and maybe
You're
screwed
still on the
that
planet.
one. Okay,
You're still on the
okay.
planet.
Okay.
So, yes, you are still on the planet because what you needed to do, the plan was that you were back at the controller moon on the planet with all the life, and you were going to... The plan originally, if you remember, was that you were going to open up the demi-plane, help out the AI, board the super weapon, and then fly it into the sun and destroy it once and for all. Unfortunately, as soon as you opened up the demi-plane, which was having problems, and the only way it could be opened is the AI had to sacrifice herself to get it open, so she's gone, and suddenly every alarm went off. You look on the panels, and you can't see it from, you can't actually see it from planet, but you can look at all the panels, and there's just an absolute barrage of readouts explaining and showing the ships that are coming. And I even have a picture of what it was.
Yeah, it was a good picture too. That's a episode picture, definitely.
Yeah, the picture of the ship itself, and the picture of... Here is what the ship looks like. The Black Winged Annihilator.
Oh, I'm looking at the other.
Yes, that's the other one. That's right.
I'm having the handouts now.
There's
You're looking at
another
the
one.
bone
That's
ship.
what
The one above it is the Blackwing, right?
That's
sorry,
battleship. That's
In
a battleship.
handouts.
That's not it.
Yeah.
That's a battleship.
No, that's it. That's the Blackwing. So actually the one above, you can see the super weapon coming out of the portal, and below it in the lower left-hand corner, that is the Blackwing Annihilator going to claim its prize. And then you can see lots of little ships. If you look around, there's dozens of little baby ships all around it.
Oh.
Anyhow, with that, let's look to see what has happened. Okay, a lot is going on right now. One thing that you know is that, just to give you a recap, that these are Eoxian ships. Their design is strange. They're kind of a mixture of magic technology. They're made out of bone, and they're open to the void of space. There's dozens and dozens of them, various shapes and sizes, but they're all built for war. And you know for a fact that this is definitely the Corpse Fleet. How they managed to find you and know about this, I guess maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't. The flagship is 6 miles long, and it's something of legend, this ship. It's one of these things that people have talked about, supposedly existing, but it's always been denied by the Eox government because they didn't want to admit that their super colossal ultranaut was lost to the bad guys, which obviously you can see why. And yeah. Now, something else interesting just occurred. The weapons and the defense from the Najor system has suddenly come alive. And every single planet and all these defenses that you had no idea that even existed have sprung to life and are getting ready and actually are starting to attack the fleet. So outside of your window is a Return of the Jedi style battle going on right now.
Nice.
While you're on the planet.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Okay, so we're looking in the sky and just trembling as the mortals that we are, correct?
You're actually looking at the computer screens and trembling. But yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mortals? We're not. You're more right. We're mortals.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Aeon Tuttle and Undead Rusty.
Well, you're a mortal. Also, the demonic.
Gosh, that's true.
Kira, you're the only mortal here.
Yeah, it's true. Tuttle, cheese. Oh my God, Cheddar is. Oh my God, I'm the only one who's mortal. All right,
Mo's just a guy.
We're gonna remember you thousands of years from now.
Wow, I'm shoulder to shoulder with Titans.
Yeah, Cheddar is a strange mixture of technology and goblin and magic. So he's his own thing.
Mo, can we get Mo
When
into
does
the
Mo
shop?
get his upgrade?
Yeah, can we get you into the shop for some supernatural meddling or something?
Yeah, give me some wings or something.
Well, yeah, Mo's. Well, you're the everyman. You're the one that everyone has to relate to.
Great,
You're the one that the listeners relate to. Going, that's me. I'm the
Yeah.
average Joe with those superheroes.
He's the companion in Doctor Who.
Oh, great.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, my superpower is I get to speak to the fishes. That's
Either that or you use the Stitch Spider so much you're eventually going to get mutated by it.
Oh, I'm waiting for that Stitch Spider bonus.
Actually, John, for narrative purposes, if you could do your job better, every once in a while, could you just ask, but that you say that you don't understand what's going on, so one of us can like mansplain it to you, and it'll actually allow
Great.
everyone else to keep up.
Great. That'll do so well for Mo's ego. All right, so, gosh, what are our options? Like, do they look like they're attacking the planet that we're on? Or is just all these worlds, all these suns and the worlds that revolve around the suns, they're attacking the fleet.
In theory, you would have to do a computer check, but Tuttle's computer is so high that you don't even need to do the checks. So Tuttle can automatically, well, he can probably answer any question you want, more or less, by looking at the computer.
Tell us, Tuttle. Tell us mere mortals what to do.
Tuttle looks at the computers and can see that, sure enough, there's an epic battle going on outside. The automated defenses placed all around the Najor system are keeping the corpse fleet at bay for the time being. However, you do know that these systems are literally 1,000,000+ years old, so who knows how long they'll last. They probably won't last forever. You do see smaller attack ships breaking off and attacking the specific planets and moons and sending down ground troops.
Damn.
Oh, so it seems they may actually be coming to our location. Mo is going to do a military check, which I believe might be social. There's no such thing as a military knowledge check, but I do have a bonus to that, so I will appeal to the GM's ruling.
Sure, just use your social and then we'll add some extra.
Okay, I'm just going to roll a d20.
I'll assist for the hell of it.
Oh, he rolls a 1.
But I
Never mind
successfully
your
assisted you.
assist,
Great.
Rusty. Mo rolls
No,
a
I brought
1.
it up to a failure roll of 3. It was great.
Wow. Mo goes, I don't know.
Much like the everyman who's thrown into a situation way above his pay grade.
There's like
he
drool
has no
coming down.
idea.
There's drool coming down from Mo's upper lip that just like rests on like the keyboard, and like Cheddar kind of like
And this is different
Tuttle's
from normal Mo.
like-
How exactly?
yeah, I know. That's right. Well, that's the closest thing you get from a knowledge check from Mo. So there you go.
Well, this is all happening. I mean, here's the thing. This fight is probably going to last a little while. This is been going on for, maybe it took about 20 minutes, if you remember, for the gate to open. The ships appeared. Some of the smaller ships are very fast and have been starting to sort of go through the systems and are fighting. The capital ships are sticking back and sort of lending support. And there's several capital ships. They're not in the thick of battle, but all the smaller ships and scout ships are charging in, looking like they're trying to both take out the defenses and sort of get footholds on the planets. So there you go.
We did not rest or anything, right? In a while?
You rested automatically. What happened, if you remember, you rested, you got to level 11. We didn't do it.
Right,
We kinda
right,
did
right.
it. We did a little out of order. It's like, in theory, you would have been level 11 and then this would have occurred, but I did it kind of reverse. And then we...
I don't know if there's any way to 3PO the odds. I mean, what would our chances be of getting through this battlefield and getting to the stellar degenerator? I mean, maybe that's a stupid question, but
Well, there's two issues that Tuttle sees. One, the chances are that you probably wouldn't have been able to do it initially because there was no defenses up. And you had the AI helping you. The problem is the AI is gone, so you don't even know how to get on the stellar degenerator. And now the full defensive system has come up and is basically firing these weapons that are holding an entire massive fleet at bay, the chance of you getting near the stellar degenerator is less than 0.
Well, what about the capital ship? Like, if they're preoccupied with the system defenses, it seems like a good plan might be to Millennium Falcon our way into the Death Star, so to speak.
That is actually very possible because A, your ship is itty bitty teeny tiny, and B, these ships are open to space. So getting onto one of the larger or the capital ship is probably doable. Obviously, you'd probably need somebody who's partially undead with really good social skills to kind of get you through that, but I don't think you have anyone like that, but it could be possible.
Well, we can blast our way.
Pardon
through.
me?
Yeah, it sounds like we'll have to blast our way through this situation. So, Mo suggests we get onto one of onto the capital ship, and weasel our way to a vulnerable spot and like set demolition charges, maybe, or something like that to destroy this thing.
Okay, so step 1, I use my disguise abilities to look like I am a captain of a corpse fleet vessel.
Interesting. That will be a fascinating way to get through this. How would that work exactly? How does you disguise yourself using whatever's around you to look like a corpse fleet captain?
Well, okay. First of all, I have to look undead. Check. Done. Second, I have to look like a captain. Check. Done.
And are there
Well,
any
what other
available
questions?
corpses to decorate yourself with? Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Look around.
Do you speak Eoxian?
Check. Got it.
So you're going to turn off your beauty maker that's been covering
Yes,
up your...
I'm turning off my little
Oh,
visual
Oh, boy.
which I've had running nonstop for the last
He's running
while.
around in circles. He doesn't understand.
Okay,
Truth
yes,
comes
I
out.
officially turn off my image inducer that makes me look like I am a gorgeously attractive human.
Is
male.
Rusty no longer dreamy?
Well, actually, I am still dreamy. I'm just a little less.
I don't know.
Dreamy.
More nightmarish.
Why don't you describe once and for all? Come on, this is the 6th and final book. I think people have waited long enough to fully understand what Rusty has become.
Well, to a certain extent, of course, he's, pretty much exactly the same sort of size and build as he is. At this point, of course, though, his hair is faded to a sort of gray. His skin is now extraordinarily pasty white and extremely dried out. Other issues that he currently has is, of course, that his eyes are actually glowing a very bright red. At any rate, glowing is more absolute. They are a reddish, deep red that seems to glow in the dark. As he speaks with a voice that sounds like a vampire that's actually trying to mesmerize you. And, of course, there is sort of a strange movement in his chest, almost as if his heart is trying to beat outside of his chest alive.
Do we have to make a will save to not attack Rusty at this point?
I was thinking about it. I was thinking, we'll
Yeah.
say, you guys, it's sort of like that Futurama episode where you like melt. You look at him and you just disintegrate. It's like you can't.
It's
look
more
at
like,
him.
I think it's more like Rusty is a member of the Elizabeth Dane sailing into Antonio Bay, and Mo just doesn't trust that. That's a little bit too scary. You're definitely like Captain
Okay.
Blake.
But what you guys need to understand, and here I'm going to need you all to make some sense motive checks, is I'm going to say, okay, my disguise ability really is working. So now I think I can look like them. Okay, wait, guys, do you think I look like I'm undead now?
Yeah, kind of. Actually, Akiro could help out quite a bit with the whole, crazy corpse core thing.
What do you
Okay,
mean?
it's-
I mean,
That's what you're from, right?
Reroll.
no. I was a cultist.
There you go.
Cultist.
I find your
same
disguise. I find your disguise very convincing.
Excellent. That's great. I'm glad that it's working. All right. Wonderful.
Wow, this went ugly quickly. So poor Mo. Mo he was feeling so good about himself too. He's like, oh man, I got really, really good armor. I got some new skills. And next thing I know, everybody's changed. Listen,
Hey, it's just a disguise, Mo. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I'm still your captain.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. There you go.
Yeah,
Russ
Mo
has
gains
turned
the
up.
unsettled. Yeah, Mo gains the unsettled condition is what he gets. New modifier in Starfinder.
Look, Mo, actually, your reaction tells me, Mo, that this is really apparently more convincing than I even expected. You know what? I think that's
Yeah,
great
that's true.
feedback. I appreciate that. That's great. You know what? I appreciate that you're enjoying this. Look,
Yeah.
once we get on board, though, remember, you treat me like you always do. As your captain, that you'll obey no matter what insane order I give you.
Sir, yes, sir.
Excellent. I'm glad. Now, we need to work up some insignia and possibly some uniformness for clothing.
Do we have an older command code, but it checks out?
That's where Akira comes in. Akira,
Oh.
dawn us with your cultist way.
No, these are not cultists. These are corpse core.
This is Corpse Fleet. This is
Ah,
the
Corpse
okay.
Fleet. It's different.
But we've
same
met them
difference.
in the past. But we've met them
It's
in the
not-
past, so we
it's not the
saw
same.
how they dress, how they act. We actually have information about them.
Yeah, demon devils, same difference.
Really, exactly opposite, actually.
No, they're exactly the same. And daemons too. That one where you spell it with a little A in it.
All right, well, Mo is just going to stand there with his arms outstretched while Akira does his corpse core / cultist way to.
Okay, it's totally different. But I think we need to get in our ship and get to that capital ship.
Sounds good.
All right, but I want some decorations.
I don't think we have time for that. We're just too small. They're not going to notice us. I mean, we're nothing. We're like a little blip. I mean, the thing is 8 miles long.
All right, well, we're flying.
A ship of this size poses no threat to them.
How often do we get to use the word dawn without, being related to Christmas?
I
What was-
don my armor.
Yes, I want dawned decorations on his armor.
Can we festoon our ship?
Ooh, that's a very good word.
I have a feeling we're going to be quoting Jedi like endlessly for the next couple of months because there's a lot of references to Star Wars in this module.
Oh,
Everything's okay up here. Everything's fine. How are you?
all right.
Okay.
So
You exit the facility, walking towards your ship, when you see off in the distance where your ship is an extremely large column of black smoke.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Someone destroyed our ship?
Plan just got a little tougher if our ship's gone.
Oh,
Uh,
Well, you guys are all the way up there. You can start moving yourself. How are you going to get there? I mean,
wait.
I've got
Is it
a
coming where our
jetpack.
ship was? Is it coming
Yes.
from our ship?
Yes.
Oh no.
no, wait. We have a couple of, what do you call it? Anti-gravity bikes, right?
Yes, we do.
you
Yes,
had,
we
you had
do.
those crazy bikes. I'm not sure what happened to them, but I
No,
think you guys, we're using them to
they're
putt
parked
around.
outside.
So.
Yeah, they're
Okay,
parked outside.
yeah, you guys can use your bikes to putter
Akira
over here.
and Rusty, they were definitely riding bitch. They were behind.
I'm a really good
Mo-
driver, though.
Mo's gonna take his shirt off to make it even more uncomfortable for the person who gets on, and
Well,
so-
I can ride shotgun because I can shoot while I'm riding. I like that idea.
Oh, yeah, that would be great if we had sidecars. But you're riding bitch. That's
well,
let's
I got
call it
a
what
pistol.
let's call it what it is.
I don't think that's PC.
All right, you're riding female dog.
Okay.
All right, so
I
we
accept
get
that.
on our speeder bikes. Are definitely Return of the Jedi.
How many of those do we have? 5?
2.
Two.
No. So
All right, I'm going to say you
someone's gonna-
guys
someone's gonna
speed
have to walk.
along. You guys are running. Well, it actually, I think Cheddar
carry three,
like,
isn't
zips along. Yeah, we actually talked about this a while ago. Cheddar, we made the whole joke to the vacation movie where he was trying to keep up and then he died. But all right, you zip through the forest, you go around the bend, and you see quite the sight. Let me show you.
Ah, there we go. There's our new ship.
Oh no!
You see your ship, the Sunrise Maiden, in flames.
No!
It is completely destroyed. On the platform, you see 8 corpse folk Marines. Looks like they're ready for you. Looks like they recently landed in their ship. And, well, you can probably guess what's going to happen next.
Pip, 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 pip.
Yeah.
Pip, 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 pip.
Pretty much.
Will there be rolling for combat?
Roll for combat.
Oh,
Whoa,
man.
that is a lot of combats going on.
Oh my god. Look at those guys. They look cool.
Yeah.
They
God,
look
they do.
cool.
They look really cool.
Yeah, so there's 8 of these corpse folk marine soldiers. They seem to have grenades. They have gauntlets that are like flashing like some weird energy, and they have rifles. And they see you. They immediately form a line. That's
Is that a platform or is that what is that?
Yeah, that's the landing pad.
Okay, so it's on ground level then.
Yeah, it's
Not
ground
like raised
level.
up. Okay.
No, not really. I mean, it's like a little race, but it's like, and the ship on the right was your ship, obviously in flames, and their ship is on the left, which looks awfully nice and cool.
It's our new ship, maybe.
On the other, if we can get their ship, we can
That's
actually.
ideal.
This job becomes
Yeah.
a little easier.
That's right.
I don't know. What was it?
Could this be a job for Rusty?
How funny you should say that.
Before we even start shooting, should we maybe have Rusty take a swing at these?
I'm going to pull out my feet, fast talk.
Well, you're
Okay.
far away, right?
You're far away, and they're going first. They see you.
Are
coming.
they though? It's the whole point of this feat. Before combat
What
begins.
does it do? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay, go right ahead.
Yes.
No,
When
go right
sorry.
ahead.
When the GM declares combat's begun, but before initiative is rolled, I can spend 1 result point to attempt a bluff check against a single creature that to fast talk it and tell it basically that it will get so confused it will actually stand there and actually be willing to converse with me, giving us all a surprise action.
Go right ahead. There's 8 of them.
Yes, which one appears to be in charge?
You cannot tell.
Does that have a range
Oh.
on it? That seems odd.
Probably
it has a
audio range
DC. Don't say
by the
a
name.
range.
Fast talk.
I'll give you a little bit of a negative for being so far away, but
Yeah,
right.
that makes
but you
sense.
go right
Uh,
ahead.
DC
That's the whole
is-
point. Use it.
Great. The DC is 15 plus the target's total perception skill bonus, or 20 plus 1.5 times the target's CR, whichever's higher.
Okay, I'll do the math.
So
You
it has
do
a
the
high
rolling.
DC.
Roll
All right.
your thingy.
All right, the one in front. No, that's not good enough.
That's not good enough.
29. That doesn't
6
look
isn't
too
good. He
That
rolls a
doesn't look
6.
too good.
Are you sure?
Oh,
And
41.
so there we
Rolls
go.
an 18 for a 41.
Yeah, there we go.
41.
All right, so there's my 41 bluff, and I'm saying, all right. Thank goodness you boys in Eoxian. I'm sorry. You idiots finally got here to actually take us off this planet. I'm taking command from here on in.
Okay, now that only works on 1 though.
I understand.
So
Front and center. But I also do say this quite loudly in Eoxian.
All right, I'll give you the surprise round because he's like, what's going on, guys? Wait, there's someone with him. He's saying this in all Eoxian. He's like, wait, I'm confused. And Akiro sees his golden opportunity to maybe do something.
All right.
Oh, here comes Magic Mirror. Here comes one
Yes, here
Magic
comes
Mirror,
one
should I
magic
say.
mirror. That's thank God we have the surprise round so we can get that off in time to get the drop off.
Plan A. That's what I like to call it. Always.
God.
Or you could do an AoE, or you could do something else.
Plan
They're
A.
lined up like bowling pins, dude. You can just
Plan
knock
A
them all
from
over.
outer space.
Okay. well, plan A
What's the
from
range
outer
between
space.
me and them right now?
You
It looks
are. It's
like-
actually pretty
Wait a minute.
far. The closest one is 125 feet.
Ouch.
Okay, that's out of weapon range, but
Not?
You have long
That's a
arms
minus
on.
2.
Dude.
Big deal.
Yeah, it's like a -2. What do you?
no, my gun only has a range of 50.
All right, so it's -4.
Yeah, and you can shoot up to 10 times the range. It's just a -2. Big deal. And they're flat-footed.
Oh, you know what I forgot to say, but I would have done, and while we were resting and stuff, is all of the stuff that was on my old rifle, like my scope and my other thing, would be on this rifle.
Okay.
All right.
I'll give you
I mean,
that.
Yeah. All right, but I'm not doing that.
Right.
So I'm not shooting. All right. Actually, from here, I can fire. I can cast a spell, and you've seen this one before as a spent battery erupts in flame and smoke and launches from his hand and blows up in the middle of the group that's lined up here and gets them all.
What's the burst?
20-foot radius burst.
Yeah, that's gonna get.
That's going to get
three.
4 of them, maybe.
Maybe 4, probably 3.
You
Yeah.
can
Maybe
get 3. You can
Maybe
get 3.
three.
That is I presume those are the 3 you want. You can get
That's a
3.
start.
Yeah, let me just double check that. Actually,
Yeah, the bat-
I almost took a feat that was going to double that. I almost took a
This is a huge
Alright.
battle map. So
20-foot radius burst. Okay, so they need to make a DC 21 reflex save.
don't you have to hit that square?
I don't have to do a hit. No,
Oh, it's just automatic. Okay.
it's like a fireball.
What's the reflex save?
21.
Okay, so 1 made it. That's it.
All right, let me do damage.
Is that explosive blast?
It is.
Is that magic?
It is
Ooh,
not.
41. That's actually pretty good.
Boom! Boom!
Not a bad roll. 6, 6, 6. Wow.
Well, I also got a +5 damage.
That was a very good roll.
Well, it was 96, 41. That's actually like 1 above average. So it wasn't that great.
96 +5.
That's
Yeah.
not bad for 3
A little bit more above
recipients.
average overall. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Oh, and I get a move action.
For
All right, where are you going
Wait.
to move? Sorry. Just tell me
we
where
get
you're
a
gonna
move
on.
and a standard.
No, it's a surprise. You don't get a move. Surprise round.
Oh,
yeah,
this
we,
is
yeah,
right
we
now?
don't
Okay,
get.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
we don't get.
Yeah, we're in
Okay.
the surprise round right now.
Mo is
Okay,
up.
so-
Mo is up. What are you
All
doing?
right, so I'm going to say this just so the other people in the party know what Mo's temperament is. You destroyed the Sunrise Maiden. Mo is as angry as Luke Skywalker returning home to find his aunt and uncle dead. There's not a lot of diplomacy that's going to happen right now. So he is going to start off with his ranged weapon. That's what he's going to do. That's his normal first round attack. So
120 feet away.
A laser rifle.
yeah, on the guy in the very center.
Yeah, in the very, very center. You hit.
Nice.
You hit. And yeah, you do 22 fire damage.
Nice.
Rusty's up.
All right, the one in the middle does appear to be the most damaged. Yeah, all right, I'll shoot at it. I don't see any downside to it.
Bombarding Sharonai rifle.
Yeah, exactly. And as part of an attack action, I will make another bluff check to try and make it flat-footed.
It's a surprise round, so they're flat-footed.
Oh, they're already flat-footed.
Automatically
Oh, right.
flat-footed. Now Ann Tuttle's up.
Did I attack? Did I make the attack? I don't know.
You made the attack and you hit, and you did 16 points of damage.
Okay, I'm going to use my Dragon Drake pistol.
What is the range for that thing?
That's a good question, actually.
60 feet for the rifle.
50 feet, I think.
For the pistol, it's 30 feet.
Ew. All right, so maybe I better use the rifle instead.
The rifle is probably like 60 or 70.
Nope, the rifle's 50.
Or 50.
All right, well, I'm actually going to move closer then to
Okay.
get a little bit better shot.
Well, you only get one action. It's a surprise
These are-
round.
Oh,
These
right.
are good rifles, too.
All right, well, in
actually.
that case, I'm going to go ahead and take a shot from this distance.
There you go. Worst thing that can happen is you miss. But you do
Wow.
not miss. He's like, I'll take a shot from here. Wachink!
But if it's truly one action, I can't give Cheddar any commands, so I guess Cheddar doesn't do anything.
Okay.
We had a decent opening salvo. We can't complain.
Yeah, everybody hit, so.
Yeah, and now they're all going to shoot at Mo anyway, so that's fine.
I did 100 damage, but tooth count really.
Okay, now they go. They're all waking up after they just got shot. They're going, "It's a trap! Form a line!"
Hey everyone, Steve here. So there we go, Beemer Bingo. If anyone wants to make a bingo card, I tell you, I might even give you something. I might even give you a free t-shirt if someone comes up with a really good bingo card, because I would like to see that. And I realize I'm also guilty of kind of saying the same things. Everyone does it. Everyone says the same things over and over again. In fact, one of my favorite podcasts, How Did This Get Made? They had one podcast where they took a supercut of the same things that people say over and over again on that podcast and just put it together in this one big supercut. And everyone does it. Everyone just keeps saying the same things, especially on podcasts, because that's just human nature. It's just funny because Chris Beemer's are very memorable. Like, I might say the same things over and over again, but those are just like, vocal tics. He says the same things over and over again, but on purpose. He always talks about the same things. The funniest thing that you don't hear is that offline he always talks about the same things as well. When we're joking, he's a huge World of Warcraft player, and truth be told, he's one of the best in the world. He's really good at World of Warcraft. He just plays religiously. He is excellent. He spends way too much time making sure his character is the best of the best. And he just always brags about how good he is. Truth be told, he is that good, but it's just very funny. Anyhow, if anyone wants to put together a Beemer bingo or a Roll for Combat bingo sheet, I would love to see that, or even a couple. And then we could actually play it. That'd be really funny if we did that on the Discord channel. I'd love to try that out. Or even just randomly put together some phrases. Actually, that's the best way to do it, is we just find all these phrases that we say, and then we could just randomly make bingo sheets. The funny thing is, what will be the center square? We all got to think about what is the center square. What is the thing that we say almost every single episode, as you get that as a free square? Probably, if it's going to be anything in my mind, it's a Kiro casts mirror image. That's the free square, because he does it every single fight. It's the first thing he does. He does that before he even casts magic missile, so that would be mine. As for me cutting it off in this part, this is a huge fight. There's over 1,000 hit points of bad guys in this fight. There's something like 8 or 12. I forgot how many. There's a lot of bad guys. They all have over 100 hit points each. This fight's going to take a little while. It is, I don't know, it's a good test of their abilities. It's a good test of grinding them out. Now, if you don't realize it, at this point of the adventure, almost every single fight, it's been the PCs against one bad guy. Every so often, it'll be 2 or 3. And as we got deeper into the books, they started to mix it up, and we had more and more bad guys. Again, that had to do with the fact that these were the very first books written for Starfinder. They didn't quite get the balance down right exactly, so they always put like one monster against the PCs because they didn't want to overwhelm them. By book 6, they go crazy. They're throwing like a dozen monsters at the PCs at a time. So the fights are bigger, they're more deadly, everyone hits really hard. Even if the monsters aren't the most deadly monsters, they seem to have hundreds of hit points. So the combats do take a little while. After this combat, I actually modify the combats a bit so they don't take quite so long, because I don't mind having combats in the show, but I think really long combats are kind of like a slogfest. So I kind of adjust them a bit. You're going to see what I mean. Don't worry, they stay just as deadly. In fact, what I do is I just make them harder, but with less opponents, things like that. So as I said in the beginning of the episode, I wanted to talk a little bit about my history with Adventure Paths and kind of what I thought about so far Dead Sons. Now, I've been playing Adventure Paths, as I've said many times, since the Age of Worms. And many people consider that like the modern day adventure path, the second adventure path ever created back in Dungeon Magazine. The very first one ever was the Shackled City, and that was an adventure path where there was 12 adventures all together, and it was epic, massive, huge adventure, unbelievably good. I still say Age of Worms is by far the best adventure path ever written, not only because the story was just fantastic, where you're up against Chaos, the dead god, who's just trying to destroy everything, and you just do every legendary thing you could ever imagine in the world of Dungeons and Dragons. You fight every legendary creature. You find the Hand of Vecna. You find all the crazy, most legendary magic items of all time. This thing is fantastic. Since then, I have played many adventure paths, but I was thinking about it. I forgot. There was actually an adventure path. The very first one, I think, came out in 1984, which I never played, but I definitely, as a kid, bought and read. And that was The War of the Lance, aka Dragonlance. And that came out way back in 1984 with DL1, Dragons of Despair, and continued all the way through to DL14, Dragons of Triumph, came out in 1986. Now that was a strange concept back then. What happened is there was 14 modules that were all linked together in one campaign. You actually were given your characters. You didn't run your own characters. You were given characters. I remember they started off at like level 3 or level 4. None of them started off at level 1. And then you would run those pre-made PCs throughout these modules all the way to the very end. I would be very curious to go back and reread those modules. I remember reading them as a kid, and I thought they were kind of a little heavy-handed. I didn't really love the modules. I loved the concept, but I remember I didn't think it was that well done. Now, again, this is back in 1984, so what's that, 35 years ago? So who knows? I'd be very curious to revisit them and see what I think of them today. But they were beautiful. They were just gorgeous modules. They had amazing maps. They were just fantastic. As for actually playing them, I never played them. I just read them. If anyone did play them, I'd be really curious to know what you thought of the War of the Lance and Dragonlance back in the day. Now, as for my personal opinion of modern day adventure paths, if you remember, I actually spoke to Eric Mona, and he told me when he came up with the idea of the adventure path, he was going to do 20 adventures. Can you imagine? Age of Worms was going to be 20 adventures altogether. That would have been nuts. They obviously made it 12 because they were in a magazine format, and their 12 sounded like a good idea. Now, I can tell you right now, 12 modules is really fun, but oh my god, is that way too many modules. So they cut it down to 6 when Paizo was born. And I tell you, almost 6 is almost too much as well. 6 is a lot of modules. I haven't tried the Starfinder experiment of 3 modules. I almost think 3 might be too short. In fact, if I had my druthers, I'd say 4. I'd say 4 might be the perfect sweet spot. Because my experience, and I've done a lot of adventure paths, is that Module 1 is always the module where everyone's sort of like, testing out their characters, figuring out what's going on, trying to figure out the story, trying to figure out what the MacGuffin is, trying to just balance the party and, the personalities of the party. So book 1 is usually just like an exploratory book. Book 2, you're starting to get an idea of what's going on, you're starting to get the story outlined, and, your characters are kind of coming into their own. Book 3 is usually where things really shine. By now, you know exactly what's going on in the story. Characters are much higher level. By now, you're pretty strong. You're not going to get one hit killed usually. Everyone has personality traits. You're starting to develop as, a team. And book 3 and book 4 are usually where these adventure paths shine. I'd say book 4 is where things really get good. Actually, both books, book 3 and book 4, I'd say are the best books of these adventure paths because everyone's very comfortable as a party. They're very comfortable with their characters, and they're not, level 1. They're usually pretty strong by now, and they are pretty well developed. Usually those low teens, or, in the Starfinder's case, like levels 8 and 9 and such, that's where, the characters get really good. Now, book 5, and sometimes the end of book 4, but usually book 5 is always the hardest. That's the slog fest. Book 5 is always tough, and by now, these adventure paths always take about, for at least us, 2 years to do. I don't know how people do them faster, but for us, we can only play once a week. We only play 2 to 3 hours a week, and realistically, it's less than that because we're always talking before the show, and so we don't really get to do all the playing. So, Book 5 is the real tough one. By now, we've been playing with these characters for a year and a half. People are starting to get itchy. They want to play something else. They're getting a little sick of these characters, and then they realize, ugh, we got another full book to go, and Book 5 is usually the toughest book. But then, finally, you get to Book 6. And Book 6 is where everyone wakes up, everyone gets re-energized, everyone realizes, oh boy, this is it, this is the end. They start going crazy, they try out things they've been wanting to do all along, you know, all the secrets come out. If anyone loved someone, they declare their love to them. If somebody hated someone, they declare their hate to them. Everything comes out, and you're going to see a lot of that in this book. You're going to see everyone go crazy, and you could already see it, that after 5 books of Rusty hiding who he was, he drops the disguise. He's just out in the open. He's some crazy undead monstrosity, and he's showing the world what he is. Everyone is just going nuts. It's going to be a really fun ride. But my point being is that books 1 and 2 are sort of, you know, the intro. I like to think of it as a trilogy. That's the best way to think of this. Books 1 and 2 are the first book of the trilogy. Book 3 and 4 are the second book, and then 5 and 6. Books 1 and 2 are usually the fun intros. 3 and 4 is the meat and the fun part of the trilogy. And then 5 and 6 is where you wrap everything up. 5, if you're going to be running one of these yourself, you just got to go through 5 really quick. I think you can just have a lot of high energy, just blow through it. If you notice, that was by far the shortest one for us. I could have actually even made it shorter fairly easily. I actually expanded a little bit, I think, and I could have probably made that in like 10 episodes. We really went through book 5 fast, and now we're up to book 6, and book 6 actually is also going pretty fast too. I will say we are like flying through book 6, and we're very close to the end in real life, where, as you know, we're kind of like a couple of months ahead of schedule. So we're almost at the end of the book, and it's getting kind of sad. But I have a big plan to finish up the podcast, and then we're going to start a new one. Don't worry, we're not going anywhere. We're going to start a new podcast. What we're going to be playing, I'm not sure. I think we'll probably play one Starfinder 1 and one Pathfinder 2. I really am excited. I've said this before in the past shows of playing the new adventure paths. You know, I really want to play Pathfinder 2. Been playing it weekly. I really am having fun with Pathfinder 2. And to be honest, I'm not a little sick of Starfinder, but we have been playing it for 2.5 years. I am in the mood for a change. You know, Pathfinder 2, not only is it fantasy, but it's a brand new system, and it's a really fun system. There's always something fun of not only playing a new game, but a new system where you're finding out all the nooks and crannies and like how the system plays, and it's just a lot of fun. That's the fun we've been having with Starfinder. So look for that. At this point, looks like we're probably going to wrap this up. What's it, October now? Maybe January, February, I think, is probably where we're going to wrap this thing up. Maybe March, but it's coming. The end is coming. But don't worry, it's going to be a fun ride where you're going to have a lot of fun on the end here. So with that, let's quickly go to show notes. Don't forget, everybody, a new podcast every single Tuesday and Friday. Do subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, and Androids, and everything you could ever imagine. A lot of people listen to us on Spotify. A lot of people listen to us on YouTube. I like that people listen to us on YouTube. YouTube is really popular. Do check out Jason's Talking Combat column every single Monday, and Talking Plaguestone every single Thursday, where you can hear all about the Fall of Plaguestone podcast. Do check out our Discord channel, discord.rollforcombat.com, where you too can play games, get free t-shirts, find cool stuff, talk to us anytime you want. We're on there all the time. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Check out the Reddit channel. Check out our Patreon, where we got cool things. And then be on the lookout for reviews. Every single hardcover book by Paizo we are reviewing on the Roll for Combat website, so do check that out. We just did the Alien Archive 3, if you want to read that review. And we're going to be doing the Lost Omens character guide in the very near future, if Jason ever gets off of his butt and writes that damn thing. But be on the lookout for that in the near future. And, oh my god, we're out of announcements. Well, there you go. This has been a very long post-show analysis. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up, and I will see you guys next week.
You've been listening to Roll for Combat, a Starfinder actual play podcast. If you have a question or comment for the show, please visit us at rollforcombat.com or drop us a line at contact@rollforcombat.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and other social media platforms. You've been listening to Roll for Combat. Until next week, always remember Rusty Carter's motto, I'm sure you have a lot to say, but hear me out first.